Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back in another video, and today I'm gonna give my thoughts on the. If you guys want me to do a review, a full-on review of this, let me know. But I want to get into. I wanted to put some emphasis into this movie, because this is Hey Arnold was one of them. Really good with casting. They did really good with, trying to get as many of the old voice actors. I will give good clap to that because, from what I see from on the Cartoon Network side, Nickelodeon hit it out of the park with this one. Or try to, for the most, really tried to keep it to what the old establishment was from my time, which, for the most part, but there were some things that they did that, were questionable marks, but for the most part, 90% of this was, completely the way the story. Actor, I thought, was very good. He was very close to the original Gerald. The guy or the kid who voiced Arnold in this was kind of okay. I mean, he did a good job. I just think there were at times where it didn't feel natural to. For a little tidbit for you guys that are Avatar fans out there. So there was a lot of series. Now that we got this. Well, by the way, I'm just gonna put this out there. Now that we revealed the truth about Hey Arnold, parents, maybe we can get some other movies out there, or bring back some of the, Real Monsters. I just kind of had like an old school, feel when this movie came out, and they, kind of really treated it, really good. One of the things that was really big to talk about is technology. As we know, this movie is made in an era when, cell phones are a huge thing, and of course they were not back in the Hey Arnold, or back when Hey Arnold was originally made. This was clear to where there were no cell phones yet. Or there were cell phones, but they weren't that, significant as they are now. So they actually meant is now, obviously, as we all know, Helga's dad has a company called Big Bob's Beepers, which are basically pagers and stuff like that, which that stuff is not a thing anymore in this day and age. That's basically like old school text messaging before text messaging was a thing, had as a company. So this is something, very significant, because in this day and age, it's not something that the new generation is going to know about, or the kids that are watching it now are going to probably like, well, what's a beeper? They're going to be like, well, what's a beeper? So they basically, actually mentioned this. Helga, who's the daughter, basically says, why would we need this? There's cell phones, and Phoebe's like, being the nerd of, she says, yes, it's beepers are obsolete and stuff like that. So they kind of address this and kind of tell the new audience, what's going on with this, because I'm sure the new audience has no idea what a beeper is, that's watching this movie. And again, if you watch the actual series, you probably would know what a beeper is. Since, Nickelodeon has been rerunning Hey Arnold for a while now. So that's the thing, with that, is, I was hoping they weren't going to show a cell phone. Now, Helga, even though Helga says this, she doesn't actually appear to have a cell phone. And to my knowledge, when I was watching this movie, the only person who I seen had a cell phone was Rhonda, which was very significant, because Rhonda, obviously, as anyone who doesn't know, Rhonda is the rich person of the show. She's the stereotype rich person that gets everything that she wants. And she's really the only one who has a cell phone. Now, I actually was kind of happy about this, because, back in the 90s, when they had cell phones, I mean, 90s they did have cell phones, but they didn't, not many people had them, you know, and the only people that really had a cell phone were people that were probably rich. And so that's kind of what they did here. Is they gave Rhonda a cell phone because she's rich. Now, it looked like a modern day cell phone, which, like I said, that's kind of where I kind of was like, later on, they also, I thought what was kind of funny is they kind of actually used the cell phone and Big Bob's beepers together to formulate a distress message, which I thought was kind of interesting, since a cell phone, you can just literally text it to someone. So I was like, I didn't understand the concept there, but I guess they needed to make the beepers feel important, and that's why they did it. Even though beepers are pretty much non-existent, but in this world, they should still be significant because it's part of one of the featured premier characters in the show. So obviously they had to make the beepers still seem significant in some way, even though they're kind of obsolete now. But one of the things that I think they kind of missed the boat on here was Lila. Now, for anyone who doesn't remember, Lila is in the class. It was in Mr. Simmons' class. Okay, I mean, he was in Mr. Simmons' class with Arnold and everyone else. But yet, she doesn't go on the trip, which I thought was wrong. I think Lila should have been able to go on the trip. Now, one of the things I think on why they didn't do this was because, as we all know, or if you've watched the series, as you know, Arnold liked Liza. I like to use that term because I haven't used it in a while. He liked Lila, and Lila only liked Arnold. If you guys are true Hey Arnold fans, you should get this reference. I was kind of disappointed that she wasn't brought on the trip because, she was a part of the fourth grade class, with them. So she should have realistically had been invited as well. But she kind of got toned down to just basically, a couple of scenes, right before they left. And that was it. They also showed Ruth as well, too. Now, Ruth was someone Arnold liked in the beginning. Okay, before Lila came around. Now, Ruth was in the 6th grade, so I can understand why she didn't show up. But they did show her, when they did that video presentation early on, which I thought was really cool that they did that. Yeah, there were a couple of things there that, now I know why they didn't put Lila in the, into the story of them going to the jungle or whatever. I know why they didn't do it, because it was clear as day that they were trying to make this about Arnold and Helga, where Helga's finally going to tell how she feels about Arnold and stuff like that. And so they didn't want it to be clouded with Lila being there. But to be completely honest, I don't understand why. Because Lila already knew that Helga had a thing for Arnold, because in the play episode, when Arnold was casted as the male lead in the theater play episode, Helga was a stand-in, and she basically was sabotaging everyone that was playing the female lead. And then once it got to Lila, oh, that was it. She didn't care. She didn't care, what Helga was throwing at her, so she wouldn't back out of the play. And so Helga had to basically confess that she loved Arnold, and that's why she dropped out of the play. So it's not like Lila didn't know that Helga had a thing for Arnold already. So that's why I don't understand why they didn't include her anyways, because, like the whole jealousy argument is kind of vague at that point because Helga, like, already told Lila the truth. So she told her the truth before Arnold knew the truth. Okay, so I don't understand why they went in this direction. Even if they wanted, Arnold to still say that she still liked Lila, it didn't matter because we all knew that Lila didn't really like Arnold. So I think it would have actually been better if they had included that because of that fact that Helga did know. Maybe Nickelodeon forgot about this fact, but I didn't. Yeah, that was something that really kind of annoyed me about it. I kind of was like, I think it would have been better because it would have made, Helga more jealous too. So I think it would have been a better, way to have gone about it. But it was, clear as day is what they were trying to do is they wanted the movie to focus more on Helga and Arnold and have Helga eventually, confess to Arnold legitimately and and figure out if Arnold's going to, accept Helga's feelings or not. So that was kind of where they were going with it. I did like the classic though, the punch, remember the guy that always just creeps up on Helga all the time and does that and then she just punches him. I always loved that that scene every time when Helga got creeped out by the freaking by the glasses guy and she would just have a puss face on and just punch him. Like that shit was the funniest crap ever, and I'm glad they kept that in, or at least once, because I figured that they might not do it because in this day and age, with violence the way it is, that they were not going to have that in there, but they did, which I was really happy that they did keep Helga's character kind of more significant rather than a toned down character. And surprisingly for a kids movie, there were a lot of things in here that I was really surprised. They referenced death. They referenced because the guy died, fell off a cliff. There were a lot of things I was surprised that Nickelodeon got away with in this series. I mean, did they actually say death? They did say. I think they did say die in the episode. That or something. Or something like that. I think they did. I'm not sure if they. I thought they did because there were a couple of references though. If not, there were a couple of references though in the movie that really surprised me. Where they went with this. Especially again, this is a kids show. Yeah, it was on cable, but this is a kids show. Okay. And they got away with a lot of things that I was surprised about. What else? And most importantly about the movie was the ending of the movie where they kind of just did a 360 screw up. I don't exactly know who came up with the idea or who made this decision, but I noticed it right away, and I'm sure people watching this that were Hey Arnold fans as kids, they noticed it right away. At the end of the movie, when it was the first day of school, they had proclaimed that Arnold and Gerald were starting 6th grade. What can I say? That was what I did when I heard that. I was just like, right to my face. I was like, and they screwed that up. Okay, so obviously, if you're an Arnold fan, you know that the class was in the 4th grade. Obviously they implied, because obviously they had the same teacher as they had at the end of the series, Mr. Simmons. So obviously they didn't change teachers. So when they went on summer vacation, they were graduating from 4th grade going into 5th grade, not 6th grade as they alluded to. Now, also I have to also mention, in this school, 6th grade is still a grammar school, by the way. They had the old school, thinking of this, because 5th grade, is usually the last year of grammar school, and then 6th grade you go to middle school. In the Hey Arnold universe, that's not how it works. In Hey Arnold, 6th grade is still grammar school. So you're still at the same school, PS 118. But the thing is, that's why they were still going to the same school, by the way, for anyone who probably didn't get that. The thing is they were not going into 6th grade, they were going into 5th grade, because they graduated 4th grade. They had the same teacher when they started, Mr. Simon, who was a 4th grade teacher, who took over for the other teacher halfway through the year. Yeah, I don't understand, I don't know who came up with this, or if this was a Nickelodeon thing, or I have no idea who decided this, but this was horrible. This was probably the worst thing, this was the worst part of the movie, because it was a perfect, well-developed movie. I loved, everything about it, but this was the part where I was scratching my head at how they got this wrong. The most simplest things, because obviously we know they were in 4th grade, not 5th grade, or not 6th grade, or they were not in 5th grade, because that would imply that they graduated from 5th grade going into 6th, which that's not true. The whole series emphasized on the fact that they were in 4th grade. So they should have been going to 5th grade. So yeah, I don't understand who decided this, or who screwed up on this, but this was the most simplest things that kind of upset me about the movie, because I was like, how did they forget that? That is the most simplest things, and it was like, the movie was so great too. And I'm not like I said, I don't want to try to discredit the movie, because the movie was still a phenomenal movie. It was still a well played out movie, probably the better cartoon movies I've seen in a while, done by a Nickelodeon or a Cartoon Network. But this was just very surprising that something as little as this that they forgot. So I just want people to understand that they actually should have been going into 5th grade, not 6th grade, because they were in 4th grade when they, when summer had gone up, because this is supposed to basically still be the same school year that it was when the original TV series had ended. So yeah, there was also a couple interesting things too. That I thought were funny but weird at the same time. That was Abner, for anyone who doesn't know, Hey Arnold's pig, because his pig is the dog of family. There was a couple of funny moments where Arnold would give Abner baking, which, for anyone who doesn't know, baking is made from pig, and Abner's a pig, and he's eating baking. And there are actually a couple of the people that, in the boarding house that were just kind of creeped out by this. Also, there were some unrealistic things that happened where Abner was able to somehow get on a plane without dying, and then was getting the royal treatment from airplane officials. I mean, yes, I know it's a cartoon, but this cartoon is supposed to be See, this cartoon, for the most part, Hey Arnold is supposed to be more of a realistic type cartoon, for the most part. I mean, there are some things that are unrealistic, but for the most part, the movie's just, or the cartoon's just supposed to be a series about, kids interacting, on situations and stuff like that, in school. That was what Hey Arnold always was. And so this was just kind of a little weird. I mean, obviously, someone having a pet pig obviously is unrealistic, but I mean, you know, um, you know, this, even for dog standards, even for pet dog standards, going on an airplane, getting tangled up with the, wheels and shit, and then getting treated by airplane officials like a goddess or whatever, with shrimps and stuff like that, just kind of seemed like a little unrealistic, even if it was a dog, that's not something that would happen. So I was kind of surprised that was like, some of the stuff they, kind of get into. But yeah, those are some of the things that, like, some of the notes that I noted down, that I thought were, kind of iffy on how they handled some of the stuff, and just my thoughts on it overall. Overall, I still think this was a great movie. I think you guys should check it out. But I just wanted to point out some of the flaws in the movies that didn't make sense to the original series. But like I said, overall, they tried the best to keep the integrity of the movie, or keep the integrity of the series in check, which I thought was really good. Phoebe gets up with Gerald. There was a kiss moment for Gerald and Phoebe early on, and then, of course, at the end, Arnold and Helga kissed. Which I think was kind of funny, because then at the end, when, Gerald and Phoebe were holding hands, Arnold tried to hold Helga's hand, but Helga wouldn't allow it. Helga still being the tough girl of the bunch. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, Helga, the jig is up. Arnold knows that you love him, but you're still gonna, like, be a dick. Yeah, okay. We'll just go with that, We'll just go with that, totally. And as I noted earlier to the voice actors, like I said, some of the voice actors back then were voiced by kids, because that's how they used to do it back then. If you had, a kid character, you want to usually have a kid voiceover. So unfortunately, some of those voice actors weren't able to come back. I know Eugene, who was done by Ben, the guy who voiced number one. And he also does a lot of anime now. He did Sai for Naruto Shippuden, and stuff like that. He did the original Eugene. And he was like kind of like much younger and was able to do the Eugene voice. He can't even do the Eugene voice anymore. So they recasted him as Eugene. He's actually the first one who told me about the Hey Arnold movie, by the way, 2 years ago, too. So when I met him 2 years ago at the con. So that's how I first heard about this movie. But yeah, overall, like I said, some of the voices, like I said, were different, mainly because, the only voices I think were different were voices that were voiced by kids, because they had to get new kid voice actors, because they grew up, by that point. So I think for the most part, I could be wrong on this. There could be, somebody that's either retired, maybe passed on, I don't know. But for the most part, it seemed like most of the voice actors that, were, here, that were changed, were people that were grown up now, basically. But for the most part, mostly every voice actor came back, that wasn't a kid. And I think they all did a very good job. I thought that it was well done in terms of the storyline. I thought they did keep, for the most part, the integrity of the story. They tried to keep the current technology to a minimum with the cell phones. Obviously, that's really, I think the cell phone thing was really the only thing they mentioned in terms of what goes on today. They never referenced like Blu-rays or DVDs and stuff like that. I don't think they were in a situation where they had to, though, but they never really did, which I was happy because, like I said, this is supposed to be like where the TV series left off. And the TV series left off, none of those innovations existed yet. So I thought they tried their best to keep it to a minimum, with the whole cell phone thing. That was only really the new thing I thought they introduced in the series that they didn't have, early on in the, earlier years of the series. But other than that, it was pretty good. Like I said, I like the movie. Definitely give it a rewatch, too. I also would like to know what you guys think about the movie and what your thoughts are on the movie. What did you think was good about it? Did you like it? Voice actors. What did you guys think was good? Like I said, one of my my favorite was I did like a lot of the. I'm gonna be kind of modest here. I did like a lot of the fight scenes because in Hey Arnold, that's kind of unusual to have serious fight scenes like this. They had these guys coming out with swords and stuff like that. I don't even know if you can call them swords, but they were having these real cool fight scenes, which is kind of unusual in Hey Arnold, so to speak. You have your little, stereotype bullying, stuff, but that's about it. So, very surprised that they did this. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video or my other videos, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and we're out of here with the football head. Don't mess with the football head. I'm out of here. Peace.